Hello there. It was a rainy, windy and sunny affair in the Tennent's men's Premiership and National Leagues at the weekend. We're here to bring you the best of the action from round 6 in the Premiership and round 5 in Tennent's men's National 1, 2 and 3. We're going to start, however, in the Premiership with a repeat of last year's final. At Fullerton Park, Marr, who haven't had the best of starts to the season in trying to retain their title with only 2 wins from their opening 4 games, met Currie Chieftains, who themselves had maximum points and looked to be the team to beat so far. Your commentator for this one is Andrew Peartree.
The heavens opened early on in this heavyweight encounter between last season's top 2 in Troon. Marr started quickly after capitalising on loose ball from a backpedalling Currie scrum, Ben Johnson scooping up to score. The Chieftains hit back after Marr were reduced to 14 men. The ball was shipped out to James McCaig, who squeezed through a gap to touchdown. However, they quickly gifted their hosts a penalty and Colin Sturgeon duly obliged, splitting the posts with his kick. The visitors were then also reduced to 14 as Marr increased their lead before half-time. The forward pack rumbled towards the white paint and Scott Cleland was the man to score. The hosts had a 12-point lead at the break, but parity would soon be restored. Cody Roman struck the first blow, burrowing over from close range for the first points of the second 40. Then came the try of the day. Jamie Forbes took the ball in midfield, spotting a gap down the blind side and pinning his ears back before sending Cody McGovern clear through. Forbes converted, and suddenly it was 17-all. Marr would not be deterred though. With a penalty advantage, they went through the hands before Connor Bickerstaff burst onto the ball to barge over the line and hand Marr the lead once more. Trust us, it was a great try. Maybe he had to be there. After a nail-biting finale, the final whistle blew, handing Marr victory and Currie their first defeat of the season.
So Marr with a big victory there, and Currie handed their first loss of the season. One team that will be looking closely on the match at Fullerton Park was Edinburgh Accies, who hosted Jed Forest at Rayburn Place. Accies got their first loss of the season last time they played at home against Hoyk, losing by 13 points to 12. However, they went back to winning ways last week, beating Selkirk by 24 points to 20. Their opponents, Jed Forest, got their first win of the season last weekend against Musselburgh as they started to climb away from the bottom of the table. In the rain at Rayburn Place, it was Jed Forest that would take the first try of the match through their try-scoring forward Paulo Ferreira. But then in the Edinburgh Sun, it was Accies who would draw level through Cole Imrie to get the first try for the hosts. But then, out of nowhere, Jed took the lead once again through Mason Cullen, who had to do a lot of work on the wing to get across the line. Accies worked hard to try and find their second try, and the skipper Rory Campbell managed to shrug off the Jed defenders to be able to go over before half time. Unfortunately for the visitors, they could not replicate their second half performance from last week, with the day belonging to Edinburgh Accies. First off, Kerr Gosman went over. Then almost immediately from the Jed kick-off, Accies had their second try of the second half, coming through Jamie Soule. And finally for their fifth try, with some fantastic work from fullback Vincent Hart and replacement winger Harvey Cameron Barr, Accies sealed the deal and left Rayburn Place with all 5 points. Well, down the road at Stonyhill, it was an important game for Musselburgh as they looked for their first win of the season. They came close last time out against Jed Forest, but only managed to secure 1 bonus point. Their opponents, on the other hand, Glasgow Hawks, were looking for their 3rd win in a row, but knew that coming to Stonyhill was not going to be an easy task, losing their last 3 matches at the Borough. The Hawks' pressure was evident early on, and their first score came in 7 minutes when East Toktok charged down Matty McMillan's kick and went over to go for the first try. Their second try followed moments later through Brendan McGurty, who shrugged off 2 Musselburgh defenders to score. Hawks added their 3rd moments later as East Toktok got his 2nd try of the game. Andy McLean got another conversion as Hawks were 21 up at half time. The bonus point for Hawks was secured moments into the second half when Eric Davey managed to find the gap through the Musselburgh defence to allow Andy McLean to run under unopposed.
Let go.
After coming close a couple more times, they then eventually got their 5th try of the day through Max Crumlish. After a stolen line-out play and East Toktok finding Ryan Flett, it was then down to Harris Mitchell to go through for Hawks' 6th try. A darting run from inside his own half by James Pinkerton allowed Sam Graham to go through unopposed and get Hawks' 7th try. Musselburgh still yet to score. Graham then got his brace moments later as he wrapped up the scoring for Hawks and for the game as they left with a 56-0 win, their first win at Stonyhill since 1998. So a big result for Hawks to take away down the M8. Back in Glasgow, however, GHA were hosting Hawick at Braidholme. Both these sides were high scoring last weekend, with GHA losing by 43 points to 40 against Currie, and Hawick putting 52 points past Heriot's Blues. This was sure to be a high scoring encounter.
The first try came on 7 minutes, and it came for the visitors. Sloppy defending and passing from the GHA backline allowed Ronan McKean to go over. But then GHA hit back moments later through Scotland under-18 winner Amina Kakuza. The pace of the GHA backline was on show once again as Luca Bardelli found Kakusa once more for his second try. Two successful conversions from Chris Hyde gave the hosts a 14-5 lead, but however Hawick hit back through Dalton Redpath to bring the score to 14-12. They then took the lead into the second half after being awarded a penalty try. In similar circumstances for their bonus point try, it was a driving maul which saw them go over the line. However, this time it was Nicky Little who would be the one to score. Chris Hyde saw the ball sail over the crossbar with this penalty. But on the 59th minute, Hawick extended their lead, once again from a driving maul, with Callum Renwick going over. Kirkford then managed to slot home a penalty himself, but not before GHA managed to score one of the tries of the day through Chris Hyde, who managed to latch on to a loose ball and go over. But it was once again Hawick who would have the last laugh, once again from a line-out maul, and this time Callum Sutherland go over to take all 5 points back down the road.
Well, the final game comes from Golden Acre, where Heriot's Blues hosted Selkirk, with the Nails still looking for their first win of the season and Selkirk pushing for the playoff spots.
In a rainy and torrential affair at Golden Acre, Heriot's Blues managed to score twice through Danny Deneen and Charlie Simpson. However, Graham Wilson could only score one of those conversions. He did manage to score a penalty, however, to give Heriot's 15 points in the end. But it was Selkirk that would walk away with the win. Zenon Swarsgaard got a try, along with Josh Welsh, who managed to score a try and a penalty. Just one conversion in it, in a tight encounter at Golden Acre. The gaps are now starting to show at the bottom of the table, with Musselburgh now 4 points behind Jed Forest and GHA. Heriot's Blues losing bonus point now puts them 1 point behind the Borough. On the other side of the table, just 6 points separate first and sixth, with Currie, Edinburgh Accies and Glasgow Hawks all now level on points, separated only by points difference. First and third meet next week at Balgrey as Hawks host Chieftains, Accies are on the road down to Stony Hill to face Musselburgh, Hawick and Marr face off at Mansfield Park, Jed Forest host Heriots Blues, and Selkirk are at home to GHA.
Well, we turn our attention now to Tennent's Men's National 1, where Gala are the early frontrunners for the title with maximum points from their opening 4 games. However, with Kelso closely following behind them just by a point, they knew they had to keep this going as they hosted the National 2 champions GHK at Neverdale.
In the glorious Borders sunshine, it was Andrew Mitchell that would open up the scoring for the hosts after finding a gap through the GHA defence. After a swift move, Glenn McCrum was the next one to go over for Gala. But GHK managed to get their first points of the match moments later. The try was unconverted, which left the half-time score at 14-5. However, GHK failed to score in the second half and Gala started to rack up the points, with Lachlan Johnston being the first to go over in the second half. Next up, it was Andrew Mitchell who got his brace. The tries just kept on coming. Next up, it was Liam Scott to go over. Picking the ball up from a line-out maul, Stevie Cairns then dummied and managed to find the gap to go over for Gala's next try. There were 3 more tries to come, with Jack Niven getting 2 either side of a Jack Eason try. The win kept Gala at the top of the table and continued their maximum points so far this season, with GHK struggling to get a foot in the second half. Elsewhere in National 1, Stirling County could not take their strong performance from last week's win, as Dundee got their first victory of the season in a dominating performance at Bridge Hall. It was a high-scoring affair at Millbrae as Ayr kept their winning ways as they beat Watsonians by 44 points to 10. But Melrose were even higher scorers, putting 64 points past Aberdeen Grammar, who are still struggling to find their first win in National 1 this season. And Biggar slumped to their second defeat in a row as Highland kept their promotion hopes alive in Inverness, winning by 36 points to 16. In the other game, Kelso kept the pressure on Gala as they won by 35 points to 12 at Stewart's Melville. There is only 1 point in it at the top, with 20 points to Gala and 19 points to Kelso. Ayr also now move up the table level on points with Highland. Aberdeen Grammar still searching for their first win of the season. It's a bottom of the table clash next week at Rubislaw as Aberdeen Grammar host Watsonians. Elsewhere, Biggar will take on Galway looking to get back to winning ways against the in-form Borders team. Kelso will also take on Highland, Dundee Rugby host Melrose, GHK are home to Stirling, and Ayr host Stewart's Melville. Into Tennent's men's national 2 now, and Glasgow Accies loss to Falkirk meant that Preston Lodge has the chance to close the gap on the league leaders, which they did by defeating Cartha Queen's Park. Berwick also got a crucial win in the fight for survival as Lastway now drop into the relegation spots. Dumfries Saints were unfortunately unable to field at front row against Kirkcaldy and as a result had been deducted 3 points. That leaves Kirkcaldy with a game in hand to play on the top 2, only with 2 points in it between themselves and Glasgow Accies. Boroughmuir as well also move up the table, going above Falkirk despite the Falkirk win. At the bottom of the table, Hamilton Bills are still searching for their first win of the season and also their first points. They will be hoping to get that next week in a bottom of the table clash against Dumfries Saints, where elsewhere Preston Lodge will face Kirkcaldy in a top of the table clash. Elsewhere, it's the trips to the border for Peebles to take on Berwick, Boroughmuir will take on Falkirk in a mid-table clash, Glasgow Accies host Lastway, and Newton Stewart host Cartha Queen's Park. It was high scoring in Tennent's men's national 3 with some big results at the top of the table as West Scotland continued the unbeaten run by defeating Orkney. Gordonians and Hillhead Jordan Hill also won to keep the pressure on West Scotland in the chase for promotion and the title. And so as mentioned, Gordonians and West of Scotland remained on the same points with Hillhead Jordan Hill closely following behind them. Allen Glens also move out of the relegation spots and Royal High are still searching for their first win of the season. Fife host Forth next week in a crucial top of the table clash as Howe Fife host Orkney. Elsewhere, Gordonians, Hillhead Jordan Hill and West of Scotland are all at home, while the two Wanderers meet as Greenock host Murrayfield. And elsewhere, Royal High will look to get their first win of the season at White Craigs.
And so that is it for this weekend. Join us next week. We'll be rounding up all the action from round 6 in the National Leagues and round 7 in the Premiership. We'll see you then.